So allegedly, executives are blaming Taraji P. Henson for the Color Purple remake flopping. But even if Taraji did not speak out about the pay disparities for black women in Hollywood, the movie probably still would have flopped. No one asked for a Color Purple remake. And I think a lot of people are still traumatized from the first Color Purple movie, which is considered a classic. And I feel like movies like that should be left alone. And I know that the movie was based off of the actual musical, like the play, but I think that was the other point, is that people did not want to go see a musical. And some people thought that the remake would be based off of the original movie. I feel like The Color Purple has such a chokehold on Oprah. And if she can make like 10 remakes of the movie, she probably would. Also, when the movie was being advertised or the trailer was shown, it kind of made it seem like the movie was just going to show on Christmas Day. It kind of gave that vibe. So I don't think a lot of people even knew that the movie was continuously playing throughout theaters. But it's evident that it was a collection of things, and that's why the movie flopped. But I think the main thing was that people just did not care for a remake of this movie. And I honestly think that today people are just really tired of seeing struggle films, trauma films, black trauma films, and slave movies and all that kind of stuff. Like, these are the kind of movies that keep being shown. Any movie that shows like a black person struggling or a broken black family, like, people are tired of seeing that. I think black people want to see people who look like them in roles that are a bit more positive, and maybe even in roles that are not so centered around their blackness. And there's a lot of people who've seen the Color Purple movie once and never watched it again because it was that traumatic. I think the reason why Taraji P. Henson chose to speak about this during the press run for the Color Purple was because a lot of people were paying attention to it at the time. So a lot of people would have received her message, and it worked because look how many people are talking about it. And this is not the first time she's mentioned this, that she's talked about the pay disparities, but I feel like people are really listening now. So I think in a way she was probably strategic in talking about it at that time. And she's not the only one. I mean, Monique has been telling us this for years. She has been telling us about the treatment of black women in Hollywood for so long, as well as Viola Davis. Viola Davis has not shied away from speaking about it as well, and she's considered the token black actress. And it's also the fact that Taraji stated that she almost walked away from The Color Purple because of what they were going to offer her. And when Monique responded to what Taraji was talking about, she empathized with her because she's been in that position. She knows how it is to be a black woman in Hollywood. But on top of that, she called out Oprah, because why is Taraji having to champion for the other black woman to get food and transportation to the set, and just to make sure the conditions on the set were up to par? Like, why wasn't Oprah doing that? Why did she have to call Oprah to be like, hey, we ain't got no food on set? Like, who does that? And honestly, I'm not really surprised about how Oprah acts, because she's been like this since forever. She doesn't really support black women in the way we need support. And for someone in her position, she should have made sure that the black actresses on set would get what they needed. And she didn't. Taraji had to do that. And a lot of times people think, okay, well, you're an actress, you're in Hollywood, you have a mansion, so like, why are you complaining and stuff? But think about if you're a black woman who works, or just a woman of color in general, who works in corporate, or you work in tech, or you work in any of these industries, and how much you have to kind of champion for yourself and have to constantly prove your worth. And even when you do, you're not paid as much, or someone who's not as qualified as you gets a better position or a better opportunity just because of the way they look. That's like a knife in the heart. So when you think about it as an actress, it's the same thing. And Taraji has been in so many movies, and a lot of the movies she's done, her characters are very memorable. Like when she was in Empire, Cookie was very memorable. When she played Catherine Goebel in Hidden Figures, not only did she kill that role, but she has one of the most memorable scenes of that movie. Even in the movie Benjamin Button, Brad Pitt was paid $10 million for that role. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's the main character, he should be paid well. But for her role, she was paid $150,000. And she was in a good portion of the movie. She killed that role. and she only got $150,000. And she asked for $500,000 for that role, and they refused to give that to her. And for some people might say, okay, well, she wasn't in majority of the movie, so why should she get paid more, right? But how is that okay? But then people like Meryl Streep are making $3 million for 5 minutes of screen time on movies like Mamma Mia. That's not fair. Even Viola Davis speaking on how she's referred to as a black Meryl Streep, but that's what they call her in the industry. But yet there's a huge difference in pay. Meryl Streep's net worth is at 160 million and Viola Davis is at 25 million, and you can't call her the black Meryl Streep, but the pay is not matching up. And the crazy part is she's a token black woman. Like, Viola Davis literally gets every single role. Even some roles I feel like she shouldn't even take, like the Michelle Obama role. I could have thought of 5 different actresses that could have done a better job at that role and should have taken that role. That was not a role for Viola Davis. But now I'm understanding that she has to take all these roles because she needs to get paid, and she's not getting paid the same amount as her counterparts. So she has to take a lot of roles to supplement that. Whereas her white counterparts can take maybe one role a year, and that covers them for the whole year if they want to. They can do more if they want, but that covers them for the whole year. And there's a huge issue with that. Viola Davis sat down with Tina Brown at the Women in the World Salon in 2018 and spoke about how her and her fellow white actresses have the same past. So quite a few of them went to Juilliard or NYU or Yale just like her to learn acting, and then went into Hollywood. But she's not given the same opportunities or pay that they have received over the years. And she's been in the industry for so long. And Viola Davis has done so many movies. So it's obvious she's not the black Meryl Streep. And it doesn't matter how many Oscars and Emmys you give her or give any other black actress. If you're not paying them what they're worth, then that doesn't even matter. And on top of that, Meryl Streep made $5 million for The Devil Wears Prada. They originally offered her $3 million for the role. And because she was offended by the $3 million, they raised it to $5 million. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should go for what you want. But it's weird how they easily give these actresses the money that they want, but are so quick to refuse it for women of color. And Miranda Priestley was truly an iconic role, so she should have gotten every bit of that $5 million. But you can't be so quick to approve higher salaries or pay for white women or white men in Hollywood, and then so quick to shut it down when it's a woman of color asking for an increase in pay. So Viola Davis made $250,000 for her role in the new Hunger Games movie. And the movie not only had a $100 million budget, but has made over $300 million in profit. In an interview with Variety, Viola stated that mostly white men run these major studios, and they have some type of notion that movies with women of color in them don't perform as well internationally. That's obviously not true. We see movies like Girls Trip and Crazy Rich Asians, which did amazing numbers, not only in America, but internationally. The whole budget for filming the movie was around $28 million, and they made $140 million off of the Girls Trip movie. And Crazy Rich Asians, that had a $30 million budget and a $239 million profit, which is amazing. So to say that these women of color don't fill seats, that's not true, obviously. Viola said there are no percentages to show the difference. It's vast. Hispanic women, Asian women, black women, we don't get paid what Caucasian women get paid. We just don't. We have the talent. It's the opportunity that we're lacking. In another interview, she also said there's also the issue of pay, especially for actresses of color. If Caucasian women are getting 50% of what men are getting paid, we're not even getting a quarter of what white women are getting paid. We don't even get the magazine covers white women get. And that is not speaking in a way that is angry. They deserve everything they get paid. Nicole Kidman deserves it. Reese Witherspoon deserves it. Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore, Frances McDormand. But guess what? I deserve it too. So does Octavia Spencer, Taraji P. Henson, Halle Berry. We've put the work in too. And Viola Davis is an incredibly talented actress and she does have range, but she's often lowballed and she's constantly speaking about this. And nothing has changed because of these prejudices that a lot of these executives have in the industry. And it's funny because Meryl Streep donated an entire salary for a movie she filmed because she didn't need the salary for it. She just didn't need it, so she donated the whole thing. And if that doesn't speak to how much she's getting paid in the industry, the fact that if you look at most of her projects, she's gotten over $1 million for them, and $1 million is kind of low. She gets way more than that. And I think that's why Taraji used the press run to speak on this big issue. I mean, if you're working really hard in the industry, you're trying to constantly prove that you have the talent, you're filling the seats, people are responding to your work, and then they keep lowballing you with pay. And no matter how much you talk about it, no one is listening. That's why she chose to speak about it. If she had just said this on another interview, I don't even think it would have gotten as much attention. But because so many people were paying attention to all the interviews happening, and because so many people support Fantasia and they support Taraji, that's why this was the perfect time to talk about it. And I'm glad she chose that time to talk about it. And it's at the risk of her being possibly blackballed from the industry, but she's speaking up for not only herself but other black actresses who are scared, young black actresses coming into the industry who don't know anything and seeing like $150,000 or $250,000 check and thinking, oh, that's the best thing in the world, not knowing that the person you're on the same show with is getting way more money than you. And Taraji's really not asking for the impossible. She's just asking to be paid fairly for the work she has done. And it's clear there is a systemic issue when you're looking at Taraji's salary and Viola's. And we also have to think, when she gets that $150,000 or that $250,000 and she splits it up and some of it goes to the agents and some of it goes to her managers, probably her lawyer too, a publicist, this whole team of people, makeup artists, whatever else that she needs, she ain't getting nothing. But if you're getting paid at least $1 million or you're getting paid 1.5 or whatever, then you're able to split that up and at least take some home. That's why they have to do so many movies. They have no choice. And it really doesn't encourage women of color to get into that industry when they're seeing that this is how they're going to be treated. If people who've been in the industry for so long are still talking about these issues, then will they ever change? I think it's hard for you to say that women of color will not perform or do not perform well in movies, and you're not even putting them in it or giving them the opportunity. So you really don't know for sure. You're just assuming that. But I think a reason why movies like Crazy Rich Asian and Girls Trip did so well is because people were seeing themselves on the big screen and in roles that weren't just based off of trauma or stereotypical roles. Sometimes people just want to go see a good movie that'll make them laugh or feel great or whatever, and they don't always want to just watch a movie that's going to trigger them. One thing is for sure is that Taraji P. Henson is tired, and maybe it is best for her to step away from the industry or step away from acting. Maybe she can try being behind the scenes and directing, like Tasha Smith from Why Did I Get Married? I mean, she's directed, 911 with Angela Bassett, Black Lightning, so many different shows and movies. I'm not saying directing is easy, because it's not, but maybe that's something she can try. Unfortunately, I don't know if I see the industry changing much. I hope it does. I hope this has awakened the industry to how Black women really feel. But it's like, Black women have been saying this for so long, and nothing has really changed because they're still complaining about it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you guys soon.